All right. Good morning, everybody. Everybody go ahead, please settle down. Stop talking. Thank you. We're going to start off today with a quick little presentation, a little bit of a lesson. I'm actually going to be taking over today, lucky you. So it's going to be community club. We're going to talk a little bit about values and different stuff like that. So bear with me. Okay, everybody, could y'all please do me a favor and open to page 22 in your blue books? Perfect. Thank y'all so much. You'll see there's 3 columns right there. In the left column, I want y'all to go ahead and I'm going to give you 60 seconds and I want y'all to write down how you spend your time a normal day on campus, okay? Not here abroad, not when you're on vacation, definitely not spring break. Nobody wants to know that. Your normal day on campus, how you spend your time, 60 seconds. This isn't for a grade. Please be honest. Write your Netflix time, write your Instagram time, write it all. Go ahead. Awesome. Okay, now we're gonna do the same exact thing, 60 seconds, except this time how you spend your money. Again, on campus, please be honest. I know a lot of it's gonna be food. Just let it roll. 60 seconds, go for it. All right, awesome. So what we're gonna talk about today is basically values. We're gonna go into why they're important, what they mean, and we're even gonna make it a little more personal, and we're gonna talk about your values as a whole. But first, I think it's important to point out a few things about values. So first of all, number 1, you can't know yourself until you know your values. You know, as human beings, I think that we are made up of our strengths, and also our values. And in order to be an important leader, you know, all the different leadership styles that we've talked about, and any of them, if you want to use them, you have to know yourself. So that being said, organizations post their values online. Most organizations, you go to their homepage, you'll see their values, some sort of statement that includes their values. Marketers spend billions of dollars every year trying to understand our values. Businesses try to get their products to align with our values. Different organizations, schools, your family, religion, they're all trying to shape your values. That's how it's always been. So with that being said, why do you think we value values so much? I know that's a bit of a mumbo jumbo, like why do we value values? But if you think about it, why are values so important? Why do we spend so much time thinking about them and what they can do? So values, crazy word, right? I know y'all have heard it probably at least 100 times throughout your life. You know, you've heard it when you were young, starting, you know, what are your values, kids? And I think that that's something that has become kind of a very normalized word, you know, oh, yeah, I value this, I value that, I value this, but realistically, what are some values? What is a value? Go ahead, give me some. Perfect. Strength. Yep, absolutely. Yep, integrity, family, respect, exactly. Here are some if you were lagging behind a little bit. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and go into groups. I'm talking. I know y'all are sick of it. We're gonna go into groups, and I have a few questions written down that I want y'all to talk about. They're also right up here on our lovely whiteboard. So number 1, why do you think we have values? Number 2, who influences your values? And number 3, do you think your location where you grow up affects your values as a whole? And something that you can really tie into is how, you know, we've been blessed to have these experiences where we've met the local people of Cape Town, Greece, Costa Rica, blah, 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 where we've met them and we know what their lives are like. And do you think that their values are different than ours because of where we grew up versus where they grew up? And lastly, this one is kind of the heaviest one, so you can save this one for last, but I want y'all to talk about, do you think that your values actually make a difference in your behavior? Do you think that there's something that you calculate and think of before you act out? So go ahead, I'm gonna give you all 2 to 3 minutes. Go ahead and discuss those out with your neighbors. Make sure everybody has somebody to talk to, and please try to tackle every question. Okay. So now you're kind of starting to think about your values, you know, and I think we knew this was coming, and I think we've kind of touched it as an umbrella, but now we're gonna want to really start getting in there and start thinking about yourself. And what's important to know is that values are the how and vision is the where, right? Obviously, you see it right here. Now, what that means is vision is what you see yourself doing in 5 years, 10 years, 50 years? You know, do you see yourself having kids? Do you see yourself being a teacher? Do you see yourself owning a multi-million-dollar company? What do you see yourself doing? But your values are how you're going to get there. They're what you're going to carry. They're what you're going to bring step by step that's going to take you to your vision. So yes, your vision is where. Where are you going? Where do you plan on spending your life and how do you spend on doing it? But your values are what you're going to take with you to get there. All right, so now we're gonna make it a little more personal. If y'all check under your seats, you've all have 5 little pieces of paper. I want y'all to grab a pen. Yeah, she can borrow a pen, perfect, thank you so much. And I want y'all to write down 5 of your values, what you would consider your values. Don't just write down the word love or family, you know, give me a little bit something, like 2 or 3 words or a short sentence that are gonna explain what that value means. Because, you know, for me, I might say love, but that could be completely different from what Hannah interprets as love, you know? So I want you to write down 2 to 3 sentences as to what that value is. And yeah, so go ahead and do your 5. If you need help, if you need a little inspiration, I get it. 5 words is a lot, overwhelming. You can turn to page 36 and there's a list of all the different values and you can pull from there. But again, please add your own interpretation. All right, so these values are your anchors. They are what are gonna hold you down in the storms of life, which we all know are gonna happen at some point. These are the pillars that are gonna stand up right when you're having a tough day, and these are literally the lens that you're gonna use to see the world. They are not something that's minuscule or anything like that. That being said, please go ahead and throw away 2 of your values. Ilya's gonna walk through the aisles with the trash can. I want you to toss 2 of your values in there. Go ahead, crumple them up, rip them up. They're nothing to you now. Throw them away. Okay, perfect. So you have 3 left. Surprise, you're getting rid of 1 more. Rip it up, get rid of it. It's not as important to you anymore. Toss it out. Oh, I hope I can edit that out. Okay, all right, and big surprise, we're gonna do it 1 more time. So you have 2 values right now. Look at them, what they mean to you, think about it, and when we come around, Ilya's gonna come through, go ahead and toss your last value in the trash, and so that means you're gonna be holding on to 1. Again, this 1 value is literally everything to you. It is your anchor, it's your pillar, it's your lens, it's something that is going to guide you for the rest of your life. Okay, we're gonna go ahead and do a little bit of a brain dump. So everybody turn to, there's a blank page right behind page 36. I'm gonna go ahead and read out a question. They are up here if you miss it. I have them already written up here on little sticky notes on our lovely whiteboard, as you can see. So the first question, and I want y'all to just write down immediately what comes to your head when you hear these questions. Again, if you get a little step behind, go ahead and look up here. So number 1 is, how do you feel? How are you feeling? What did this exercise do? Blah, blah, blah. Number 2, how did you decide which values to throw away? Number 3, how did it feel to throw those values away? And number 4, what value did you keep and why? Perfect. All right, we're gonna go through, we're gonna do a bit of a group discussion, so feel free to raise your hand. I wanna go ahead and dive into each of these a little bit more, and you know, I think having each other bounce off each other's thoughts is gonna be really, really beneficial to everyone. So how are you feeling? Molly, how do you feel? Stressful? No, that's completely understandable. I think that that's a very realistic word. Yep. Perfect. Did you find it very emotional? Hard. Not something you have to do every day. I like that. Perfect. All right, so how did you decide which ones to throw away? Megan, yeah. Perfect. Yep. That's a great strategy. Kind of rank them in your head and think which one, and you can kind of make an umbrella with 1 word. Absolutely. I totally feel that. How did it feel to throw them away? Nick? Yeah, no, it's hard. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I totally understand that. It definitely feels a little bit like you're betraying a part of yourself almost. Yeah, I like that. It's powerful, but it's true, right? All right, and what values did you keep and why? Or what value, I guess we were down to one. Perfect. Passion, I love that. And you think, right, kind of what Megan was saying earlier with like using one word as an umbrella and, you know, being able to say like, oh, you know, your last value is love, but you can also fit passion into love and stuff like that. Yeah, perfect. Does anybody else have any thoughts that they want to share or bounce off of? Yes, Kendall. Yep, and yep, basically it's that it's really hard. It's something that you don't think of a lot. But it is nice to recognize them, and yes, this was a challenge, but at the same time it was nice to kind of reflect on those. Can everybody agree? Perfect. Let's move on. Okay, so why have values? You know, why is it important to recognize them? So one of my number one, actually, that I would say is values give us purpose. Without your values, you're going to be drifting along in life and never really identifying who you are, what you believe in, what you stand for. And I think at that point, you're going to kind of take a step back and realize, holy cow, I've lived most of my life without actually living my life, you know? Especially if you start forming to what other people value and stuff like that. It might turn out to not give you a purpose. And as we've discussed a lot here in class with reflections and stuff like that, everybody has a purpose, you know, everybody's constantly trying to discover their purpose. Maybe your purpose changes, but your values are going to be the thing that leads you to your purpose. And with your values, you know who you are, you know what you stand for, and you can't be guided, and you're not just drifting through your life. You're living with a purpose, with passion, with all of the stuff that everybody wants to live with. Values give us confidence and accountability. You know, I think whenever anybody takes a deep breath and really, you know, thinks about their values and literally what they value, you know, if they value their family, if they value love, if they value resilience, whatever it is, I think it makes them more confident in themselves. If you know what you stand for, if you know what you want, you're confident, right? And what does confidence not give you? Nothing. Confidence gives you the world. You walk into class, confident. Presentation, confident. Doing a LeadAbroad, filming a video, confident. Whatever you need to do. And accountability, values, telling your values, writing them down, posting them online, doing whatever you have to do gives you accountability. It makes you follow your values. Whether that's writing a sticky note on a mirror and literally having it that just says strength so that every morning when you're brushing your teeth, that's what you see. You're holding yourself accountable, you know it's there. A good example is a LeadAbroad employee, her name's Courtney, wanted to run a marathon, right? And it was one of her values to push through, do this thing. And she decided she posted on Facebook. She told her close friends. So that way she was being held accountable for something that she valued, she believed in. And by having lots of people know, it held her responsible and it held her accountable and it helped her accomplish the thing that was important to her. All right, and lastly, values make life simpler. I'm not gonna sugarcoat it for you. Life definitely has decisions that you're like, huh? Whether it's sticky situations with your friends, with your family, with a stranger you run into on the street. Values are gonna help you get through those situations that you're not sure how you would normally handle. You know, if you know that you value respect and that's something that's important to you, then you're going to carry that with you, and that's going to help you make decisions that may not have been so easy to make without them. So that's really short, sweet, to the point, but make it simple. Values give you a perfect path that guides you through your life. Okay, a great topic. When values and actions don't align. Here we have Santa in prison. Who loves to see that? So what happens when your values don't align? Yes, Mark. People don't take you seriously. I love that. Yep. Megan, again. Yeah, no, people don't trust you. People think you're a joke. Absolutely. So I think some good examples of that would be like saying, I always value being on time. And yeah, every time you have lunch with that person, they're 20 minutes late. Or I value my family, and yeah, every time we're at a family dinner, you're on your phone checking Instagram. So it's kind of one of those things that like we all have probably had an encounter like that, even if we've been the one who sometimes our values don't line up. But when that does happen, I think it's important to take a step back and realize that, you might be losing your trust in that person, or they might be losing their trust in you. So, it's important to kind of keep that consistency and to know your values, be confident in your values, make your life easier with your values, and live your values. I think that is so, so important. You can have them in your back pocket, but if you don't pull them out and use them, what's the point, All right. So I want you to think about if you have any gaps in yours. I think nobody's perfect. We've all had moments where we've thought, hey. For example, I want you to think about on a Saturday night. Have you ever thrown out your values? Maybe not literally. Ilya's walking by you with a trash can, you're crumpling up something that says respect and throwing it away. But have you ever on a Saturday night or when you're busy, maybe had a moment where your values didn't align with your actions? How did that make you feel? And are you able to recognize that? And how are you going to move on from that? So, again, I think it's really, really easy to judge people, judge celebrities, especially. We see them, she says she loves the planet, yet she flies on her private 747 halfway across the world every other week, So I think it's easy to say that, but a wise man once said that your values is how you spend your time and money. So, sound familiar? She gets it. Haley, good one. If you turn back to your page, I want you to see what you wrote, how you spend your time and how you spend your money on campus in your everyday life, not when you're living this dream abroad, when you're really living your everyday life. How do you spend your time and money? Do you notice any gaps? Do you think there's anything you can change? Are you happy? Do you want to change your values? I think it's important to kind of reflect on that. I can't tell you what's right. I definitely can't tell you what's wrong. So that's something that you have to decide on, but I think having these lists already written out is something that will kind of give you, again, another path to get you to where you want to be, to get you to your vision. So that being said, I want everyone to write down your values in your blue book, because these are yours for the rest of your life. I mean, no pressure, obviously life changes, but for right now, you're gonna keep them. I would recommend between 3 and 5 values. Don't go crazy, because it can be hard to kind of accommodate all your values if you have 63 of them. So I would pick around 3 or 5, write them as words, and again, write your interpretation of what that word means. Don't just say my value is love, my value is loving relationships with people I care about, something like that. Again, 3 and 5, so go ahead, I'll give you guys about 2 minutes to write those down, because I know that is a little bit to process, especially with everything we've gone over. So you guys have 2 minutes to write them down. Okay, that was an awesome 2 minutes. So in conclusion, y'all, I just want to wrap it up with you really fast. I know you're getting antsy, but let's wrap it up really quick. Your values matter. We live in a world where our values matter, whether you like it or not. People try to understand other people's values. People live their lives with their values. They matter. So know them. Know them. Things matter. Math matters. Math. Values matter. Know your values. It's not something that you need to walk out of here today and say, I am gonna love and be strong for the rest of my life. But know them as you go, as you grow, as you have life experiences. Take a step back and compare them and calculate and get your values. Think about throwing them away, how it felt, And again, it doesn't have to be some dramatic thing where the paper is crumpled up and you are kind of like, oh, I'm letting it go. But that being said, think about it in real life, even if it's subconscious. Sometimes, you subconsciously throw something away when you want to go have fun. But, if you're more aware of your values, when you start to throw them away, you'll become more aware of that also. So think about that feeling and try to avoid it. And lastly, just value gives you purpose. Value makes life simple. Value, values, not value, values give you a reason to live, a life to live, and not just, you know, you're playing this character for your whole life. You know what you want, you know who you are, and that's really what ends up mattering at the end of the day. Thank y'all.